All right, buckle up, because today we're going deep into a story that had 1930s China absolutely captivated.
Oh, yeah. This one is pretty intense.
We're talking about Shi Jianqiao, a woman whose act of revenge sparked a nationwide debate.
I mean, just think about that for a second. Nationwide.
Yeah, about justice, family duty, and the law. It really gets to the heart of some big questions.
Definitely questions we're still asking ourselves today, for sure.
And to unpack all this, we're diving into shijianqiao.txt.
Right. A text that really digs deep into her life and times and the whole context.
It's going to be fascinating, so let's jump in.
Right, I'm ready.
To really grasp the weight of Shi Jianqiao's actions, we got to understand the world she was living in.
Like stepping back in time.
Yeah, early 20th century China was volatile.
Yeah.
Imagine the Qing dynasty falling in 1912.
Huge upheaval.
And it's replaced by the Republic of China, but instead of stability, it's like this chaotic free-for-all
Total power vacuum.
with these powerful warlords, essentially regional military leaders all vying for control.
Basically battling it out for the future of China.
So Shi Jianqiao's father, Shi Kongbin, he's right in the thick of it.
Yeah, he was a respected military officer serving the Beiyang government.
Okay, wait, hold on for a sec. For those of us who need a quick refresher, what exactly was the Beiyang government?
Good point. So the Beiyang government was one of the main factions fighting for power.
After the fall of the king.
Right. They were basically the remnants of the old imperial army trying to hold on to control amidst all the chaos.
Ah, so Shi Kongbin is on the front lines of this power struggle. That definitely paints a picture of how volatile things were.
Oh, absolutely. And tragically, his position made him a target.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in 1925, he was captured and executed by a rival warlord named Sun Quanfang.
This is where things get really heavy.
Yeah, and this wasn't just a standard military defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Sun Quanfang really went out of his way to make it a public spectacle.
Like a deliberate humiliation.
Aimed at crushing his enemies. It was a brutal message.
Wow. So this wasn't just about winning a battle, it was about sending a message.
Absolutely. And to understand why this was so devastating for Shi Jianqiao and her family, we have to understand this concept of filial piety.
Filial piety.
Or Shao in Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't just some abstract ideal. It was deeply ingrained in their culture.
So it's like more than just loving your parents.
It's about honoring and protecting their reputation even after death. It was a huge responsibility.
I see. So in this context, Sun Quanfang's actions weren't just a personal attack on Shi Kongbin.
It was an insult to his entire lineage. Imagine the weight of that.
So for Shi Jianqiao, avenging her father's death wasn't just about personal grief.
It was a moral imperative, a sacred duty.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah, because she doesn't just act on impulse.
She waits.
She waits almost a decade for her opportunity.
Yeah.
Think about that, 10 years.
10 years of living with this burning desire for justice, for vengeance.
Right. During that time, Sun Quanfang actually loses power and becomes a Buddhist monk.
A monk, really? So you'd think that would bring her some sense of closure?
Maybe you'd think so, but it didn't.
I can see why. I mean, becoming a monk doesn't erase the past. It doesn't undo the pain and humiliation.
It really raises a question, though. Does someone like Sun Quanfang, who committed such a brutal act, even deserve redemption?
Right. Can religious devotion really absolve someone of their past sins?
It's a tough question.
And clearly Shi Jianqiao didn't think so.
Yeah.
In 1935, she tracks him down to a Buddhist temple in Tianjin and takes her revenge.
And here's where her story takes another unexpected turn.
What happened?
She doesn't run. She doesn't try to hide. She stays right there at the temple.
She stays.
And she distributes leaflets explaining her actions. Can you believe that?
Wow, so she's not just trying to get away with murder, she's almost owning it, framing it as a righteous act.
Exactly. It's a powerful statement. She's challenging the very definition of justice.
Because in her mind...
In her mind, she's not a criminal. She's fulfilling a higher moral obligation.
And this act, in many ways, is what catapults her story into the national spotlight.
Forcing everyone to confront this incredibly complex question. Does personal revenge, especially when fueled by deeply held cultural values like filial piety, have any place in a modern legal system?
It's like she's saying, yes, I broke the law, but I did it for a reason. Now judge me.
And judge her they did. Shi Jianqiao's trial became a national sensation. It wasn't just a legal proceeding, it was a public forum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where people were grappling with these fundamental questions about justice, morality, the clash between tradition and modern law.
So did everyone side with her, though? I mean, taking the law into your own hands, even for an understandable reason, seems pretty risky.
Yeah, you'd think so, but public opinion was deeply divided. Just imagine newspapers filled with passionate arguments.
Wow.
Families debating it around dinner tables, even radio broadcasts dedicated to dissecting the case. It was huge.
Yeah, so people were like, absolutely not, this is wrong.
Yeah, some people absolutely condemned her actions, saw her as a cold-blooded killer who was a threat to society.
Because for them,
Upholding the law no matter what was crucial for maintaining order.
but others saw her as a folk hero, right?
Exactly. Someone who embodied this ancient ideal of filial piety in a world that seemed to be forgetting its traditions.
It's like they were saying the law is too rigid in this case.
Yeah, they argued that the law was too blind to the complexities of human emotions and cultural obligations. They saw her act as a desperate but necessary response to an egregious injustice.
It sounds like China was at a crossroads.
They were trying to figure out how to balance these ancient values with this new, rapidly changing world.
So what happened? How did the court rule?
Well, in 1936, Shi Jianqiao was convicted of murder, which, legally speaking, was the correct verdict. However, and this is where it gets really interesting, she was immediately pardoned by the government.
Whoa, what? So she's convicted but pardoned.
Yep. Due to the overwhelming public support for her cause.
Wow, talk about a plot twist. It seems like the government was trying to have it both ways, uphold the law, but also appease public sentiment. Did it work? Did they actually strike a balance?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The pardon certainly prevented further unrest and acknowledged the cultural undercurrents fueling the public's response.
Right.
But it also ignited a whole new debate. Did it set a dangerous precedent?
Oh, I see.
Could anyone now claim cultural justification for taking the law into their own hands?
Yeah, that's a slippery slope. And what about the larger implications for China's legal system? Did Shi Jianqiao's case force any changes or reforms?
Well, it's hard to draw a direct line. But her case undeniably put a spotlight on the shortcomings of a legal system that was struggling to adapt to a rapidly changing society.
It makes sense.
Some legal scholars argue that Shi Jianqiao's trial and the public's reaction to it played a role in pushing for legal reforms that incorporated more consideration for cultural context and mitigating circumstances.
So it wasn't an immediate overhaul?
No, but it planted a seed for future discussions about the limitations of a purely legalistic approach to justice.
So her case, even though it happened decades ago, still has this ripple effect shaping how people think about the law and its role in society.
Absolutely. Shi Jianqiao's story isn't confined to history books. It's a living testament to the power of individual acts to challenge norms, spark debate, and even potentially influence the evolution of a legal system. It reminds us that the law isn't static. It's a reflection of the society it governs, and that society is constantly evolving.
It's fascinating how her story continues to resonate with people today. We might not face the same exact dilemmas as 1930s China, but her case still forces us to grapple with these universal questions about right and wrong, vengeance and forgiveness.
Exactly. Shi Jianqiao's story isn't just about her, it's about us. It's a mirror reflecting our own values and beliefs about justice, morality, and the complexities of navigating a world where personal convictions sometimes clash with the demands of the law.
So how is she viewed today? Is she seen as a hero, a villain, or something in between?
That's the really intriguing part. Her legacy is still debated even today. Some see her as a symbol of unwavering filial piety, a woman who sacrificed everything to uphold her family's honor.
And others?
Others view her as a tragic figure caught between the weight of tradition and the demands of a modernizing society. And of course, some still see her as a criminal, plain and simple.
Wow.
The fact that there's no easy answer, no consensus on her place in history, is precisely what makes her story so captivating. It forces us to confront the gray areas of morality, the uncomfortable truths about our own beliefs, and the limitations of any legal system to perfectly capture the complexities of the human experience.
Makes you wonder how you would have reacted back then, you know? If you were living in 1930s China, would you have gotten swept up in the whole public opinion thing?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Or would you have held on to your own convictions? It's like you said before, a historical choose-your-own-adventure.
It's a great analogy. It highlights how this story just transcends time and place.
You can almost imagine it, can't you?
Yeah.
Reading about her case in the newspaper, hearing debates on the street, maybe even arguing about it with your own family.
I mean, it was impossible to be neutral.
This wasn't just some news story. It was like a cultural earthquake.
That forced everyone to examine their own beliefs about justice, duty, and the law.
Exactly.
And it's amazing to think her story is still sparking debate almost a century later.
I know, it's incredible.
She's become this larger-than-life figure, almost mythical, representing this clash between tradition and modernity.
It really speaks to the power of her story, doesn't it? It's not just a historical anecdote. It taps into these fundamental questions that I think every society has to grapple with.
Like, how do we balance individual rights with the need for order?
Right. And what happens when deeply held cultural values collide with the law?
It's tough. There's no easy answer.
No easy answers. It's
Right.
all about navigating those gray areas,
Yeah.
the messy realities of human nature.
And that's what makes Shi Jianqiao's story so compelling.
It's a reminder that history isn't just dates and facts. It's about people grappling with impossible choices, facing dilemmas that have no clear-cut solutions.
And those dilemmas, those struggles, they make the past feel relevant to us today.
Yeah, they make you feel urgent, even.
So, to our listener, we leave you with this. What does Shi Jianqiao's story make you think about? How would you have navigated the complexities of her situation? There are no right or wrong answers here.
Just the opportunity for some serious reflection.
Because ultimately, engaging with these stories from the past isn't just about understanding history.
It's about understanding ourselves.
Yeah.
It's about confronting our own beliefs.
Yeah.
And recognizing the power of the human spirit to challenge conventions.
Even when facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles.
Exactly.
And sometimes those challenges lead to changes we could never have anticipated. Shi Jianqiao's story might be rooted in the past,
But it's a story that's still unfolding.
prompting us to ask ourselves, what is justice? Where do we draw the line between personal conviction and the law? And how do we create a world where those lines aren't always blurred? Keep those questions in mind as you continue your own deep dive into this fascinating and thought-provoking case.
If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into more cases like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like the video if you found the story compelling, and share it with your friends and family who might be interested in true crime and mysteries. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with all our latest content and join a growing community of curious minds exploring the most fascinating cases. Click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything.